Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Snowfall Season 5, Episode 9. This is the penultimate episode of the season, and yeah, they decided to throw a lot at us just so that we can be nice and stressed out for the next week leading into the finale.
Oh, I am really worried about what's going to be happening to Franklin in this finale because something has got to draw him back in. I've got some theories about that, but before we get into that, I just want to give a shout out to whoever is behind the music because you guys played one of my all-time favorite Run DMC songs at the end of this episode. It's Like That. I absolutely love that song. I love Run DMC is one of the first albums I ever bought, and I do mean actual album LP because I was born in the 70s, but 10 out of 10.
Here's where I stand with this. As a longtime lover of pie, I really appreciated the pie that we got at the end of the episode.
Pie and Run DMC, I can appreciate that.
I love Run DMC too, but man, that pie looked very good. I'm really hungry now. But okay, well, hit that subscribe button because we are going to be here talking all about the finale, whoever inevitably dies, because someone's going to die with this. And, you know, we're really close to 60,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for all of your support.
Thank you so much. It's been quite a ride to be getting to 60,000. It's really humbling for us, so thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, let's start with the theories because
all right.
We ended this episode not only with pie, not only with Run DMC, but
yes.
We had this moment where Franklin sat down with Teddy and basically was like, okay, so you're working with Louie now. She's basically 90% of my business, so my business is kind of done. And we've seen him moving towards that, where he's had this conversation where he's kind of like, I can't be in this business and also be a family guy. And I'm leaning more towards being a family guy. He wants to be with his woman. He wants to be with his kid. And here we go into the theories. So he said goodbye. Him and Teddy shook hands and it was like it was done. I think that V and his child are going to get killed in this finale. And I know I've had some wild theories like the sissy theory that totally did not pan out. And I took a giant L. And I might take an L on this too. But, you know, it's just for fun. I think something really major has to happen to Franklin to bring him back into this. And losing his woman and losing his kid is something that would bring him back full force. It has to be big.
I think it does have to be big. And, you know, I was thinking somewhat similar in that I think somebody is going to either get killed or be attempted to be killed. But this is kind of where,
if you say Leon, you gotta leave.
No, I ain't saying Leon. Listen, I value my life. I'm not going to say Leon at this particular moment. But here's where I'm sort of standing with it is that, you know we saw Teddy shake Franklin's hand and be just sort of like, you know, all the best to you or whatever else. But at the same time, Teddy got that call from Franklin during the wedding, and I know that there were some other, what shall we say, devices that were causing some of Franklin's language.
Yeah, and there was, and Teddy knows about it. Once
Yes.
It was like, oh, the fountain was spiked. Oh, okay, it all makes sense now. I mean, they talked it out.
But here's the thing. Teddy doesn't seem like the kind of guy who wants there to be a lot of loose ends. And here all of a sudden is Franklin Saint, who knows where basically all of Teddy's bodies are buried at this point. He knows a lot of the stuff. He knows his real name. I don't think Teddy is going to be okay with Franklin being out there and alive. I think Franklin is going to get, not killed obviously, because they're not going to kill him, but I think Teddy is going to make some sort of attempt to kill Franklin, and then this is going to become a good old-fashioned revenge tale for him moving forward, where he realizes, oh, Teddy's not going to let me out. He's going to let me just get killed. So with that in mind, I got to take him out now.
It's very possible that it could go that way. My only sort of counter is just that, yeah, Franklin knows where the bodies are buried for Teddy, but Teddy also knows that for Franklin. So if Franklin ever tried to expose anything, he would be completely exposing himself. They're in bed together in a way that they can't say anything about each other because it will implicate themselves as well. So as long as Teddy keeps that in mind, he may not take a hit on Franklin, but that would definitely be a reason for Franklin to come screaming back into this world,
Yeah.
is if Teddy took a hit out on him or on V or on his unborn child.
Yeah, it's got to be something, regardless of who it is, it has to be something that makes Franklin just personally invested in doing this, because it's not about the money anymore. It's
No.
not seemingly about the product anymore. But we know already there's one more season and it's the final season. So obviously there's going to be a lot of conflict here. Like, the other thing that I keep kind of coming back to, and this is like a half-baked theory because I don't even really have it all together here, but we have been talking about this, and I've been fairly, I don't want to say confident, but I've thought that Louie was, or Jerome, or so. I think somebody's going to die in this last episode because Louie has flown very, very close to the sun.
It's not going to be Louie. Now that Louie is in this spot, we saw her have that conversation with Franklin where Franklin was like, okay, I know that you're the person behind what happened with KANE. A bunch of KANE's guys have died. KANE has not, but he's really not doing very well. But he has come to this a lot more, not relaxed, but understanding, to be like, okay, I get where you're coming from with this. I understand why you did this. And I just want to move forward as a family. So for me to be able to do that, this KANE stuff just has to be put aside so we can move forward. And she tells him, of course, what's going on with Teddy and that whole thing. We had that moment where Franklin was kind of like, you wanted to wear the crown, you wanted to be in the spotlight. Well, guess what? You're here. Congratulations. Spotlight's on you. So there was a little bit of a moment there that I was kind of like, are we going into season 6 and they're going to switch out Franklin for Louie? And I mean, it was a fleeting moment. I don't think that that is what is happening, but I don't think they're going to get rid of Louie. I think it is going to end up being like a family problem as they've been kind of like ramping up this season.
I think there's a really good story case now for keeping Louie around, like you said. And I think this is why I think this theory is half baked. I think the only real justification in getting rid of Louie at this point would be, after that happens, is Jerome gonna want to deal with Teddy solo, or is Teddy gonna be just sort of strong-arming Franklin into getting back into it because of sort of that idea that you mentioned, that, he knows where everything is with Franklin. He can always just sort of turn him in, though if he turns Franklin in, he's also kind of telling on himself as well.
Yeah, I think Jerome's going to be a really important player. If they don't kill him off, they better not kill him off.
Yeah.
Because he has said multiple times the past couple episodes that he does not want his family fighting. He doesn't want his wife fighting with his family. It can't be like that. It has to find a way to make it all work.
Here's one of the other sort of big questions that I sort of have with Teddy at this point is Teddy really charting towards an end game here? Because he's starting to talk more about, okay, we need more weapons, or okay, I understand that this is my purpose. And I think he's got to be getting really burned out at this point. And he does seem to be so transfixed on fixing this or finding a way to figure all of this out. But he's so willing at this point to cast aside his relationship with Franklin to go over here with Louie. I mean, Gustavo even warned him that this is something that Franklin probably would not love. But is he so desperate to end all of these battles that he just is sort of like, okay, let's just do this and get this done?
Yes. Teddy has a one-track mind, and that is it. It really doesn't matter. He even said, yeah, it could cause a problem for them or not, It doesn't really matter because he's always been focused on his mission, and it doesn't matter how he gets there. That's why, with Louie having 90% of the business and being like, okay, we'll cut out sort of the middleman here and we'll just go straight this way. That means more money for my mission. If Franklin's only 10% of it, he can pick up that 10% somewhere else.
I really hope in the finale and in season 6, they sort of just send Teddy even further down this rabbit hole where he is so transfixed on this mission, because and I don't mean this as an offense to Parissa. The first couple of scenes were weird and interesting, but at this point, I could not care whatsoever about what's going on there. She's just kind of randomly around at this point.
Yeah, there's no real reason for her to be here anymore. Yeah, she was weird and fun in those other episodes, but now like I don't know what she's around for truly, and that is no offense to the actress because she has been great and weird and strange,
Yep.
but the show doesn't have anything for her to do anymore.
And I think this has always kind of been one of the problems with Snowfall is that you need Teddy to be there because Teddy is sort of the impetus for a lot of things happening. But a good, 80 to 90% of the most interesting stuff has always been Franklin and has been Franklin's family and his relationship to the community and all these different disintegrating, bonds that were there. And that is definitely still the case now.
Yeah, one of the other things that has been a little bit of a disappointment for me is that the show has not used Sissy nearly enough. Like, I thought they were really setting her up when we finally got her back in America, that they were setting her up for something really big this season, sort of her going after Teddy and everything that's going on. And it just kind of disappeared into nothingness. And instead we have Ruben going over to Avi's place and like punching him in the throat like Philip DeFranco threatens to do at the beginning of every single one of his videos to his audience. I was just like, what is happening here?
I learned something from that scene though. Avi may be older, but I ain't sparring with this guy. This guy is down to fight.
Yeah, he is.
The Sissy story, yeah, it's sort of like what are we doing here? It's spinning its wheels, and it has been for a little while now. And I think that's mostly just a bummer to me as someone who wanted more closure to everything with Alton and what actually happened all there and what Sissy knew or discovered or any of that other stuff. And yeah, it just feels like I know there's other stuff that's been going on, but they kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I think if you're going to introduce this story, because it originally felt like she was kind of working with Ruben to get Teddy to be taken down, but now it just feels like she's like being used as like a CI to be spying on her son. And we've kind of run through this similar type story already with her. And I'm not here for it. I really thought that she was going to be working with Ruben to get to Teddy, and it just feels like that's not really what's going on.
I hope we get some more scenes with Franklin and Sissy in the finale. Maybe if Franklin just sort of communicates with her that he is sort of moving away from that life, maybe that will be sort of enough peace for Sissy that she can do it as well, though I don't know because, losing Alton is not an easy thing to get over.
Okay, now we gotta talk about the part that I'm really excited about, which is Leon and Wanda. Okay, listen, I have been trying my best over the years to not root for these two to get back together because I was just kind of like, it doesn't feel realistic. These are two really young people, first loves, like that doesn't always circle back around. They have been through it, but because they've been through it and they've gotten to the other side and they've both changed and worked through some of their stuff and changed as people and want different things, this scene worked really well for me, where we saw in the last episode, Leon on the chocolate fountain was telling Wanda he wanted to go traveling and he wanted her to come with him. And she was like, we'll talk about this when you're sober. Like, this is not I'm not having this. I got other stuff to worry about here. But then we saw him go over to her place and was just like, hey, okay, so I'm sober now. Let's have this talk again. I want to travel and I want to do it with you. And I just feel like through your experiences and my experiences, this is something that together we can really take those experiences and make something of them. And she was so honest with him where she was just like, listen, I still love you. Like, I've never stopped loving you. And because of that, I just don't think this is a great idea for me. Like, she's taking very much responsibility of herself to kind of know, like, what she can handle, what she can't handle. And being in love with someone and traveling with them and not knowing if they love you is not a healthy place to put herself in. And I was really proud of her for doing that. But then we had Leon say, listen,
Yeah.
you were my first love, and obviously those feelings are still there, but like, let's see if there's still something there. The door is not closed for me. We've both changed. Let's see if there's something there. And I'm like, oh yes, I absolutely want this to happen. But then I'm kind of like, oh, but these are two of my favorite characters. I don't want them to go traveling through Europe unless it's like during the hiatus between season 5 and 6 and they come back.
They can either do that or they can just wait until after the series finale to go. Like, either way, okay, I'm about to be the world's biggest jinx. I am saying that right now. Please don't hate me if what I am about to say comes back to haunt us all later.
Okay.
But okay. I am more confident about Wanda and Leon surviving Snowfall than any other major character on this show.
I like this. I like where this is going.
It's just, they are the heart of the show. They are the center of this world in a lot of ways, and that these are these two people who have gone through it, but I think have also sort of figured things out. Like, they understand that this world is not about money. It's not about power. It is fundamentally, and I don't care if this sounds corny or not, it is about love, and it is about family, and it is about having people who are there by your side. And I think the experiences the two of them had to get to this point are very, very different. And it's understandable that someone like Wanda would have a lot of hesitations when it comes to kind of making this next big leap. But I think we are going to see them figure things out. And if Snowfall does do something terrible to one of these two characters, I think it will be the biggest shot in the heart for the entire fan base that we have ever seen. And I don't know how we'll bounce back from that.
No, I think this show is about change. And I see a lot of people compare it to Breaking Bad, and these two shows are not the same.
Yeah.
They're truly not. They're both excellent shows, but it is not the same. I mean, we've seen Franklin going through change, we've seen Leon go through change, and of course Wanda. And I think having Leon and Wanda make it through this series, I think, is the hope that everybody needs. Wanda, especially, she has kept this show extremely honest, kept everybody on this show honest about what they are doing, that it's not just, oh, I'm selling this and making this. She's always been around to be like, this is what you're doing to people you love, people in your community, people who are your family. Like, this is what you're doing. And I think having her get past this and, get sober and be on the other side of the darkest part of her addiction, and showing that, yes, there are people that don't make it through, but there are people who do. And that's an important part of it. That's not almost never shown. A lot of it is shown that it's you fall into the addiction and you never get past it. Or if you do get past it, you slide back into it, which is a very real thing. But so is Wanda's story. Her story is also extremely real, where you can move forward and you can keep your addiction in the past, and you still struggle with it, but you can get there. And I think that's a really important message that the show is showing us. And then with Leon, you have such a major change from where we saw him and where he is now, where he wants to make change. And it's such an important part just of history in general, the people who made change.
I think this show also really likes to shine a light on consequences and redemption and how to go about some of these things. And I think the changes that we've seen with Leon and with Wanda, like, it doesn't feel like there are some, outstanding consequences that are about to come down crashing on their heads. Like, it's certainly possible that may come, but the issue, with the Franklin or a Teddy is that there are a lot of consequences that those two probably still have to face here. They haven't paid the piper for what they've done.
Leon and Wanda have paid.
Yeah.
They have paid, and they have paid dearly for their actions and what they've done and what they've been involved in. They have paid. It is time for them to be on the other side of it. You guys go to Europe and Africa and have yourself a time.
But come back.
But come back.
Okay, well,
yeah, do it between seasons.
Well, we've got one more episode of Snowfall to get through this season. We're really excited to get into all of that. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out with us, sharing your thoughts, hitting that subscribe button, getting us to 60,000. Also, follow us on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV, and we will see you here next time.